What is going on, guys? Welcome back into another video. In today's video, guys, I want to show you one of my favorite PvP Solar 3.0 builds for my hunter during the season of the Haunted. Now, this build is going to feature the WormHusk Crown exotic helmet for the hunter and also the No Time to Explain exotic pulse rifle as well. We're also going to be trying to abuse classy restoration and radiant effects as much as possible with the mods and the fragments that we'll be using. Now, to start things off with our subclass, we're going to be running the Golden Gun Deadshot for our super. This is going to allow us to summon a rapid fire flaming pistol that disintegrates targets with solar light, causing solar ignitions while your super is active, refunds a golden gun round, and we're going to benefit from being radiant as well. And we're going to be pairing that with Acrobat's Dodge, which is a dodge to perform an acrobatic leap. Upon landing, make yourself and nearby allies radiant. Now, the reason I'm using this one over some of the other dodges available is because it's like having radiant on demand. And what that's going to do is that's going to give us a 10% bump to our weapon damage inside of PvP. It's also going to pair up really well with some of the fragments and the armor mods that we'll talk about here shortly. Now, in terms of our melee, I'm using the proximity explosive knife, which allows us to throw a knife that attaches to surfaces upon impact and explodes when it detects a nearby target. We're also using a trip mine grenade, which is an explosive grenade that sticks to surfaces and detonates when targets pass through its laser trigger, dealing damage and moderately scorching them as well. Now, both the melee and grenade is super subjective, so you guys could certainly insert whichever ones you prefer here. I think another intriguing option could be proximity knife and maybe a fusion grenade to cause a little bit more scorch and ignitions throughout your matches. But again, whatever you guys prefer, you could certainly insert here and use. Now, moving over to our aspects, the first one we're going to be using is going to be Knock 'em Down. That is going to give us 2 fragment slots, and it's also going to increase the duration of our super. Also, while we're radiant, final blows with our equipped throwing knife will fully refund your melee energy. And the second one we're using is going to be On Your Mark. This is going to give us 3 more fragment slots for a total of 5 fragments on our build. This is also going to give us precision final blows, grant you and nearby allies increased weapon handling and reload speed for a short duration. This is going to stack 3 times. Also, activating your class ability immediately grants maximum stacks of On Your Mark. Now, the big reason I'm using this one is for the additional fragment slots, but it also is giving a huge advantage to our class ability every time we use it. So every time we dodge now, guys, you're going radiant and getting an increase in handling and reload speed as well. Now, moving over to our fragments, the first one we're going to be using is Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. Now, this is going to pair up nicely with both our grenade and one of the weapons we'll be using as well to help us get that dodge back as soon as possible. And we're also using Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. So now we have the option of going radiant with our dodge and our powered melee attack just by throwing it at an enemy. We're also going to be using Ember of Solace. Radiant and restoration effects applied to you have an increased duration, and again, we want these effects to last as long as possible. We're also going to be using Ember of Searing, which is defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. This is also going to give us a plus 10 recovery, and again, this is going to pair up really well with our weapons and our grenade as well. So now every time you defeat a scorched target with this setup, you're going to get a massive boost to your melee and your dodge ability recharge rates. And the last fragment we're using on this build, guys, is going to be Ember of Benevolence. Applying restoration, cure, or radiant to allies grants increased grenade melee and class ability regen for a short duration. We're going to lose 10 discipline on this as well. Now again, this is going to pair up very nicely with our dodge because every time we dodge near our allies, we're going to make them radiant, which is then going to proc Ember of Benevolence to give us that boost in regen. Now, moving over to our armor and our exotic of choice for this build is going to be the WormHusk Crown helmet. This does have the armor perk Burning Souls, which is dodging gives a small health and shield bump. Now, what's great about this is that our dodge now gives us radiant. It also gives us increased handling and reload speed on our weapons, and it's going to give us a small health bump, which is 67 HP every single time we use our class ability, which is absolutely bananas. And we're also throwing on Taking Charge, which has become Charged with Light by picking up Orbs of Power. This is going to pair up nicely with some of the armor mods that we'll talk about here in just a moment. Now, moving over to our gauntlets, the first thing I'm going to be using is going to be Powerful Friends, which is when you become charged with light, nearby allies also become charged with light as well if they are not already. We're also taking advantage of the plus 20 mobility here. And we're also throwing on Overload Rounds, which is uninterrupted fire from your equipped auto rifles and SMGs grants bullets that stun combatants, delaying healing ability, regen, and lowering combatant damage output. Now this mod has an interesting effect inside of PvP because it allows us to cancel out enemies that have procced restoration ×2. However, restoration ×1 is a little bit up in the air. I'm not sure if it works against those enemies or not, but again, restoration ×2 is huge. Most people are using that inside of the Crucible, and this allows us to cancel that out. Now moving over to our chest, the only thing you need to throw in here is going to be high energy fire. While charged with light, gain a bonus to weapon damage. Each defeated combatant consumes 1 stack of charged with light. Now this is going to give us a 20% bump in weapon damage, and it's also going to stack with the radiant effect as well, which is also giving us a 10% bump in weapon damage. Now moving over to our legs, the one big thing you'll want to throw on here is going to be radiant light. Casting your super causes nearby allies to become charged with light. This is also going to give us a plus 20 in strength because we have powerful friends on our gauntlets. And last but not least, on our cloak, we're going to be running elemental light. Defeating a combatant with your super spawns an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type. We're also throwing on classy restoration, which is activating your solar class abilities, grants you restoration. So now with this, every time we dodge, guys, you become radiant, you get a bump to weapon handling and reload speed, you get a bump of 67 HP to your health because of our helmet, and we're getting restoration ×2 every single time we use that dodge. Now, just a quick recommendation on your stats. The one thing that I would try to max out here is going to be mobility so we can get that dodge back as soon as possible. Also, I would try to focus on recovery and your intellect to be able to get your recovery speed up and that super back super fast. Now, in terms of weapons, guys, you really have the ability to use anything you want to. We are inside of a pulse rifle meta, and I've been using No Time to Explain, which is a 2-tap beast with this setup. I also threw on a Callus mini tool with the perk Incandescent to take advantage of Scorch with that weapon to try to get our grenade and melee abilities back as soon as possible. Now to wrap things up, honestly guys, this build is absolutely insane. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Using No Time in this setup is almost unfair. It is so easy to win gunfights inside the Crucible with this. It's absolutely insane. Having the ability to go Radiant, have high energy fire, and proc classy restoration to get out of sticky situations basically anytime you want is crazy, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this both in trials and 6s as well. Now just a quick reminder guys, I do stream over on Twitch 5 days a week, and if you're enjoying the content on the channel, be sure to hit that thumbs up and sub to the channel. It definitely helps me out, and I certainly appreciate all of your support. Also guys, before we go, I'll leave you a detailed rundown of the entire build for your guys' reference, and also if you have any recommendations or questions on the setup, be sure to leave them in the comments below. I love to hear your feedback, and I'd love to hear what you're using as well inside the Crucible. Thanks again for stopping in and checking out the content, guys. I'll plan on seeing you in the next video.